My name is Elena Martin. I am 26 years old, and I live in a small rented room in Maple City, a quiet place filled with tall buildings and busy streets. 2 months ago, I lost my job as a receptionist at a travel company. It was a very hard time for me. Every day, I woke up early, made coffee, and sat in front of my old laptop to search for new work. I sent out many applications and wrote many emails, but nobody called me back. Days turned into weeks and weeks into months. My savings slowly disappeared. I had to count every coin to buy food. My rent was due soon, and I had no idea how I would pay it. I felt scared and alone. One rainy evening, my best friend Sophie came to visit me. She brought a small box of donuts and smiled softly, but I could tell she noticed how tired I looked. "Elena, you look so pale. What's wrong?" she asked. I told her everything about losing my job, my unpaid rent, and how hopeless I felt. She listened quietly. Then she said something that sounded very strange. "Elena," she said, "some people who can't have babies pay women to carry their babies for them. It's called surrogacy. They pay a lot of money for it." I stared at her. "That sounds crazy. People really do that?" Sophie nodded seriously. "Yes, it's legal. I read about it online. You could help someone who really wants a baby, and you'd earn enough to start a new life." That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about what she said. It sounded impossible, but $500,000 could change my life completely. It could pay my debts, rent, and help me start my dream, opening a small coffee shop. I opened my laptop and searched for private surrogacy agreements. One advertisement caught my eye. Private agreement. Healthy woman needed. $500,000. Confidential. Serious inquiries only. I read it again and again. The next day, I decided to go to the address listed in the ad. It was a large white house at the edge of the city. My hands trembled as I pressed the doorbell. After a few seconds, the door opened. A tall man stood there. He had kind but serious eyes. "My name is Ethan Gray," he said. "You must be Elena." I nodded nervously. He invited me inside. The house was beautiful, quiet, clean, and smelled faintly of roses. Ethan spoke in a calm, careful voice. "This is a business arrangement," he said. "There will be no emotional relationship. After the baby is born, you will leave, and there will be no contact. You must live here for 9 months. No friends, no phone, no visitors. Everything will be private." He placed a contract in front of me. I looked at the words but barely read them. My mind was full of fear and confusion. Yet, I needed the money. I needed a way to survive. With shaking hands, I signed my name. Elena Martin. And just like that, my new 9 months began. Living in Ethan's house was strange. The rooms were big and quiet. Sometimes I could hear the ticking of the clock and nothing else. A doctor came every morning to check my health. I had to eat healthy food, rest, and stay indoors. Ethan worked all day in his office. He hardly spoke to me, and when he did, it was short and formal. He always looked serious and tired. One evening, I saw him sitting alone in the living room. He looked lost in thought. When he saw me, he said, "You can sit if you'd like." We sat in silence for a while before he started talking. He told me his wife had died 2 years ago in an accident, along with their unborn baby. His voice trembled slightly as he spoke. "I just want a family again," he said quietly. My heart ached for him. I finally saw the pain behind his cold eyes. After that day, things slowly changed. Ethan and I began to talk more about books, music, and small things like the weather. Sometimes he made me tea. Sometimes he smiled, and his whole face seemed softer. One afternoon, we were sitting in the garden. The sun was warm, and the air smelled of flowers. Ethan looked at me and asked, "Have you thought of names for the baby?" My heart jumped. "Yes," I said shyly. "If it's a boy, I like Lucas. It means light. And if it's a girl, maybe Emma. It means hope." He smiled, really smiled, and wrote the names in a small notebook. That small moment made my heart flutter. I knew I wasn't supposed to feel this way. I had signed a contract, no love, no feelings. But my heart didn't listen. One morning, there was a loud knock at the door. A beautiful woman stood outside. Her eyes were full of anger. "Ethan," she shouted, "who is this woman?" She pointed at me without even looking properly. "She's the surrogate," Ethan said calmly. The woman, his ex-fiancée, I later learned, glared at him. "You really think this will fix you? That this is how you move on?" she said, her voice shaking. Then she turned and left. After she left, I felt embarrassed and small. I went to my room and closed the door. Ethan came later but said nothing comforting. Just, "She doesn't matter." I whispered, "Do I matter?" He didn't answer. He turned and walked away. My heart broke quietly that day. A few days later, when Ethan went out, I decided to clean his study. I opened a drawer and froze. Inside was a photo of me, but it was an old picture taken before I ever met him. How did he get it? When he came home, I showed him the photo with shaking hands. "Why do you have this? Why did you look into my past?" I asked. He said softly, "I needed to know who you were. I needed to make sure you were real, honest, and safe." His words hurt me. "You treated me like a product, not a person." I cried. He stood there silently. He didn't try to stop me as tears ran down my face. That night, I packed my bags and left. 2 weeks passed. I was staying with Sophie again. My belly was growing, and one morning I felt the baby kick for the first time. Tears filled my eyes. I wished Ethan could have felt it too. Later that day, someone knocked on the door. When I opened it, Ethan stood there, holding a bouquet of lilies. His face looked tired but warm. "Elena," he said softly, "I broke my own rules. I said no love, but I fell in love with you." I couldn't speak. I just stared at him. He continued, "I don't want this to be just an agreement anymore. I want you to stay, not just for the baby, but because I want a family with you." I felt my heart fill with warmth. I stepped closer and looked into his eyes. "Yes, Ethan," I whispered, "I'll stay." That moment, everything changed. It wasn't about money anymore. It was about love, forgiveness, and a new beginning for both of us and for the tiny life growing inside me. If you enjoy this story, please like, comment, and share.